This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, the latest details as Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici recovers after being hit by a car. What led to the crash? Plus, a child saved by CPR, the Lake Oswego firefighter who is being honored for the rescue. But first, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for a quick look at the forecast. Good morning, Chris.
Good Sunday morning to you, Tim. We wake up to rain, of course, because it's January and it's raining. Okay, we've got over the last 3 hours, you can see the progress these bands of rain have made through western Oregon and Washington. They will continue pinwheeling ashore here with low pressure spinning offshore. That'll keep the rain train going here for at least the first half of the day and probably into early afternoon at the earliest here in terms of a conclusion, right? Live scan right now showing pockets of even some heavier rain. Northern Clark County, southern Cowlitz County. You see some of these yellow blobs showing up along the Oregon coast. Down in the mid-Willamette Valley, we've got light showers falling. By the way, up in the Cascades, it's snow. We've had some fresh snow at Timberline. Looks like the parking lot's got a little, well, more than a dusting there, and that snow will continue throughout the day. By the way, we are now snowing in the passes. This is just shy of 4,000 feet, so obviously Cascade passes are going to be snowy today. And right now, it's 47 degrees and raining at the airport. East-southeast breeze at 14, but there are some pockets in the Willamette Valley that have been very gusty with the wind, and right now, the wind is sustained out of the south at 21 miles an hour in Salem with some gusts on the order of 35 to 40. So it's a breezy day as well. We'll be on and off wet and on and off breezy for the day today with temperatures not going very far, upper 40s to maybe just shy of 50. Tim, I think we actually eke out a mostly dry day tomorrow. We'll walk you through that forecast for the MLK holiday coming up in just a few minutes.
And we'll look forward to that. Thanks, Chris. Well, this morning, U.S. Representative Suzanne Bonamici is out of the hospital after she and her husband were hit by a car Friday night walking across the street. Alma McCarty has details on that crash for us.
The communications director for Representative Bonamici said all this happened as the Congresswoman and her husband were leaving an event around 8:45 on Friday. Around Northwest 19th and Everett, police say a driver turned into the couple, knocking them down. Following an event hosted by Congregation Beth Israel in Northwest Portland, a driver struck Representative Suzanne Bonamici and her husband, U.S. District Judge Michael Simon, as the couple crossed Everett Street Friday night. Although police say she was driving at a low speed, the impact sent the Congresswoman to the hospital. John Cushing was on his way to the bus stop when he came across the scene.
I heard some sort of a disturbance on the other side of 19th, and then I saw a woman lying in the street and a bunch of people clustered around her. And then somebody shouted, "Call 911."
While he was connecting with dispatchers, Cushing said the group diverted traffic away from the crash site.
They kind of knelt around her and they were waving off the cars, and then they waved all the cars forward so that the fire engine could get to where she was lying in the street.
Cushing said first responders got to the intersection within minutes. The Congresswoman's team confirmed she was treated for a concussion and laceration on her head, and her husband for minor injuries. Now out of the hospital, Representative Bonamici is expected to make a full recovery. Well wishes continue to pour in.
We just want her to have a very speedy recovery, her husband as well. Congresswoman Bonamici is a fighter, and we just know that, like everything else in her life, she's up to the challenge, and we just want her to get better real quick.
Last month, Portland police reported a 70-year high in pedestrian deaths, at more than 30 people killed in these crashes. PBOT keeps track of the traffic deaths and injuries within the city, but does not have injury data available for the past 2 years. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Well, the body of a missing woman has been found in a river in Seaside. LaDawn Renee Bloom has been missing since early December. Divers with the Clatsop County Sheriff's Office found Bloom under the water inside her car. A tow truck pulled that car from the water on Saturday. You see a picture of it there. We don't know yet exactly what happened to her. That investigation is ongoing. Well, a whale has washed up on the beach on the North Oregon coast. Officials believe the whale is dead. It was spotted at Fort Stevens State Park Saturday afternoon and is still there. Now, due to current high tides, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says they probably won't be able to examine the body of the whale until Monday. The Coast Guard is asking people to stay at least 200 yards away from it. Officials believe it is a sperm whale, but that has not yet been confirmed. Well, these are the incredible 3D images of the aftermath of a massive fire that authorities say was deliberately set last week at a vacant church in downtown Portland. What you're seeing here came from a special high-tech drone that recorded video combined with some very precise measurements from the scene. For almost a decade now, Scappoose Fire District has used drones to help with fire investigations.
Photogrammetry is the science and mathematics of taking lots of data and images that are all georeferenced to altitude as well as a specific place.
Now, the chief wouldn't discuss what the drone spotted here in Portland and how it came into play in building the church arson case. Authorities say the suspect confessed, and the suspect has been charged with arson and burglary. Well, first responders from Lake Oswego were honored this week after saving a 5-year-old girl's life. The good news, she's doing fine now. The girl's family got a chance to thank those first responders. Art Edwards has their story.
5-year-old Sloan Young is a healthy, happy little girl. In April this year, she gave her family a big scare. She hadn't been feeling well, but nothing out of the ordinary, according to her mother. Then it all changed.
And all of a sudden, she just passed out, and then she wasn't breathing.
Erica Jarneberg wasn't home at the time. Her ex was with Sloan. He called 911 and started CPR with the help of a dispatcher. By the time first responders arrived from Lake Oswego's South Shore Station, Sloan had a pulse and was breathing. She was awake by the time the ambulance got to the hospital. Cody Grimm led the team from Lake Oswego Fire.
This is a call that I get to live with for the rest of my life that was a positive, and we don't get those very often, and it's a family and a call that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I'm incredibly grateful for.
On January 11th, Lake Oswego held a ceremony to honor the first responders who worked that day in April. Erica and Sloan were there. Sloan spent time with Cody, got a teddy bear dressed like a firefighter that carries his name. It's the bear she carried on Saturday. Her mom said a simple thank you wasn't enough, so she wrote a message in a card for the first responders.
Talked about Sloan and her life, and so they would understand how important she is to us and why we were so impacted by everything that happened, and grateful for the quick response.
Well, firefighters estimate it took them less than 2 minutes to respond to that emergency. And as it turns out, all the paid firefighters in Lake Oswego are also paramedics. Well, meanwhile, healthcare workers at Kaiser's Sunnyside Medical Center are picketing over a staffing crisis. This is video from Friday night. You can see them holding signs there, some reading "Better Staff, Better Care" and "Honk for Safe Staffing." The union that represents those workers says they're understaffed and cannot care for the community's needs fully. The union also notes this issue started before COVID.
We are fighting for better staffing. What is happening in that hospital would shock you.
The number one problem we see is that we don't have enough staff to care for our patients in the way that we would like to care for them.
Now, workers want Kaiser to increase staffing levels by 15%. The nurses and other staff told Kaiser about the planned picket earlier this month. Meanwhile, Kaiser says it's doing what it can to help workers, pointing to solutions like accelerating the hiring process and hiring temporary staff. Kaiser also says it's working with the state and other healthcare leaders to get more people interested and trained for healthcare jobs. Well, Oregon's new governor, Tina Kotek, and Senator Ron Wyden teamed up with volunteers to help clean up a southeast Portland park. The cleanup at Ventura Park was part of a busy weekend for Solve. The nonprofit's mission is to help clean up Oregon by hosting litter cleanups and planting trees and shrubs, too. Governor Kotek shared the importance of working with groups like Solve to improve the state.
I think people feel better when they have an opportunity to go out and do things, right? And say, look, I want just to go do something, make the world better. And I think how the community looks also reflects how people feel about it.
Now, Solve is also hosting a community cleanup event tomorrow on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Portland. So if you'd like to help out, the organization will provide everything you need, from trash bags and gloves to litter grabbers and safety vests. Head to solveoregon.org for more information about that. Well, everyone's New Year's resolutions are a little bit different, but have you ever thought about exploring more of Oregon? Coming up in just 2 minutes, how Travel Oregon and tribes across the state are making it easier for you to do just that.